not getting up and leaving, that means you must be ready for it.
We're ready.
We are ready.
That's funny, because I was going to tell you something private. I was going to say, I don't think there's anything you could say that would get me to not come back. Okay, so I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's really very beautiful because it's a shared, when we come together, it's our shared interest that really makes that is satsang. It is our shared interest. There is no, it just, as I said, it's our love for truth that brings the teaching. And when we journey, long journey, to come to the understanding, or the beginning of understanding, and then the unfolding of the understanding. So deep down within our hearts, there is a recognition of that. Then there is an appreciation. So it's a shared appreciation, and the recognition that yes, it's really beautiful. There's beauty, love, and sweetness in the Sangha, in us as friends coming together. That in itself is a celebration. And it's so beautiful because consciousness has no borders. It's seamless. It has no. So there isn't like my understanding versus your understanding. It's not like that. It's a transparency. When we come together below the radar, unknown to the mind, there is a emerging. One way of, let's say, okay, if you bring like, it's like bringing 3 or 4 streams together. There's a stream coming from this hill, and another stream coming from that hill, etc., and they come together in a pond, or a small crevice or something. Then in that pond, you can't distinguish which which drop of water is coming from here or here or here. It's like that. So satsang is a blessing, and the self, the consciousness that we are, is the highest blessing. Recognition of the borderlessness that we are, the edgeless beingness that we are. And the freedom, it's complete freedom, the love. Everything dissolves in that wholeness. Everything refers to that wholeness. Everything expresses that wholeness. We never leave this wholeness of being. We never anything else but this wholeness of being. And then, of course, there is like some hypnosis in which this is happening to me, in my energies, and then 60,000 years later, realize, when you're dreaming a dream, it may seem, that you've left this wholeness of being, but open your eyes, Never leave this wholeness. Now, once you recognize it, why leave it? Why go into a limited dream of story, a character, story about a character, ups and downs of this character? Why? Why? Once you recognize the wholeness of being, just don't leave it. You don't need to leave it, really. There's no, that's the golden pot. Is that the expression, the golden pot? No, the golden pot. Pot of gold. that's the pot of gold. You don't need to leave it. You don't need to look for the pot of gold because you found it. Something like that. It's of course, it's silly to be speaking about pot of gold because it's so pot of gold. Who cares? But
and if I reside in the pot of gold,
yes, you are the pot of gold.
Is there anything taking care of this body?
Absolutely.
Or is it doesn't matter?
The body is, God is taking care of this body. What do you think is operating all this entire?
Will God do a better job than I've been doing?
I'm sorry?
Will God do a better job than I've been doing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Actually,
It doesn't have all the worry and stuff.
actually, you've never done any job. It's always been God's job. So, what job have you been doing?
Worrying.
Yeah, God will do a better job than that. That's an easy one. God is not much of a worrier. You call that a good job? You're doing it better. That's a bad job. Come on, somebody explain. No. No, worry. No worry. You know, instead of not worry, don't mistake yourself to be anything else but the consciousness that is. Don't leave the reality of what you are. Don't leave your true self. You know, take on the task of, I don't know, some body. The body is so complicated for, let the body take care of itself with all the, whatever, goodness, my brother is a surgeon, God, he just spends hours, so ridiculously just to fix, this. So it's good you do that. No, it is so complicated, the body. But and yet it's very simple because it's orchestrated by the greatest orchestrator, by the greatest choreographer. Yes. So, those choreographers, you watch, for example, Meskinigam dance choreography. It's mind-blowing. All these people are doing all these things, and it looks also harmonious. It's so beautiful. You applaud, and it's the choreographer, and they're all sort of moving exactly, or the dancers, according to the choreography of the choreographer. In this case, we're talking about the choreographer in chief. So the body is being choreographed by the choreographer in chief, keeping in mind that the choreographer in chief has no problem with, okay, all these dancers off the stage, now it is new dancers, you see, right? So body minds, no problem, 200 million wiped out in a tsunami, next show, yes? From the choreographer's point of view, there are no problems. No problems. But when you identify yourself, you see, then say, oh my God, why am I being thrown off stage, you see? Because now you are this character on the stage. So what happens is in satsang, and then beyond that, because it's all satsang, you realize that you are awareness. that you are consciousness. That consciousness is not a man, a woman, it's not tall, short, wide, it's not liquid, it's not solid, but yet it's the reality. It's the reality, your reality, what you truly are is consciousness, awareness. You know that because you know you're aware. And you know that it is awareness that is aware. It's not a body-mind that is aware. Body-mind is an instrument that can be aware of a tree or of a thought or of a bodily sensation. See? But what is aware through the instrument of the toothache is consciousness. I am aware of the toothache. It's not the tooth that is aware of the toothache, or my head that is aware of the toothache, or my belly that is aware of the toothache. I, consciousness, I'm aware of the toothache via the body-mind. Because if there was no tooth, there would be no toothache. So there is a body-mind form, we use the word form, impression, let's say impression. Form is okay too. That via which I, as consciousness, can experience a toothache. Yes? So the I, is consciousness. So you recognize yourself. You recognize yourself as that. What truly perceives right now, you see? And so then you remain with that knowingness. You don't need to also say, well, I am also the body, I have to worry. No. Consciousness, there is mind, meaning perception, sensation. There is a toothache that arises. So consciousness says, okay, let's for now apply some warm water with salt on it and make an appointment with the dentist. See, and let's cut down on the sweets. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Right? So, but we don't worry. Worry comes with identification. Consciousness doesn't worry. Consciousness responds. It's an appropriate unrehearsed response. It's an instantaneous response that is not a result of thought. So the thought, I'm going to think about what am I going to do about my toothache, that is a response. The thought that arises about, let me see, which doctor should I call, for example? That thought arises unrehearsed. It's not a result of another thought. It's unrehearsed. It arises crystalline. It arises crystalline. Yes? Consciousness is always creating freshly. See? There isn't a rehearsed thought. There are no rehearsed thoughts. The thought that there are rehearsed thoughts, that thought is not rehearsed.
At times, I can just sit there and like this, not identifying with this.
Yes.
And and it's good, and I can actually face things I can't face otherwise. But there's such energy when I get into like the ego, or the and I can really get, those can carry me.
Well, we're working. We are working on that.
Yeah, we are. I'm glad you're helping me on that. I feel it's a collective.
That's been taken care of.
When you talk about just so go there, be consciousness. I can see when we have satsang, as I say, I can clearly see these kind of neurological impulses, etc. And then it kind of invites me to say, when I'm recognizing the pull of this, to want to get me back enthreshed in some kind of mood that is not exactly where I want to be, and the ensuing dread, etc. I can just say, I see that. I see that's what's going on. I see that pull. So I'm not going to go there.
Beautiful.
What? Oh yeah. Okay. Good.
Beautiful.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, you stay with the seeing. You say, "Oh, I see that." Yes, beautiful. As soon as you say you see that, you're done with that because now you're in the seeing. Oh, I see that.
Okay, that's good.
I see
That's
that.
very verifying.
Yeah.
I like hearing that. Yeah.
Seeing. Seeing is absolutely it's a shift from from being in the play or something's happening to me to I see it. I see it. So the seeing, so you can see the thoughts, that, and you can similarly, it's the same seeing, the same energetic seeing.
Yeah.
That can see the thoughts.
Right.
They can also see the bodily, the feelings, the energetic
For some
movement.
reason, that's what's really coming up.
So you can once you see a certain thinking tendency, belief tendency, you also see the bodily sensation, And but seeing isn't attempting to fix anything.
Right.
See, seeing is neutral, but it's extremely powerful. Neutral. I mean, when we have wars, we love to have somebody who's neutral. When we have a dispute, a marital dispute, we love to sit with somebody who's neutral, because if we sit with her side of the family or with his side of the family, God darn, you never get out of the woods. But when you sit with somebody neutral, it's really great, because they hear this side, they hear that side. They're like, So the seeing is neutral, but it's very powerful. It's very healing, because it has no personal intention, and it's a stillness of being. The seeing is a stillness of being. See, the stillness. So what is seen comes to the seeing, and it goes into the seeing. It goes into the seeing, and it doesn't pull the seeing. The seeing doesn't get pulled by what it sees. What is seen gets pulled by the seeing. So it comes to the seeing. Same thing with the bodily sensation. This energetic movement, this feeling, then it goes. That feeling, before it becomes like a full-blown emotion, that also can be seen and can come to the seeing. Doesn't pull the seeing into it. So this is something you can be still. So it's stillness. You can say stillness also instead of seeing. So there's a stillness to beingness, and the stillness is a very healing place. So it's going to be a little bit an oxymoron for me to say turn your attention to stillness, because turning your attention is not a stillness. But I will say it anyways. Turn your attention to the stillness that is. It's there, it's there. And maybe at some point we sort of practice stillness, but very quickly, if we're doing it correctly, then it bears a fruit. It bears its own fruit. Stillness will solve all the problems. It brings brings you to peace. It doesn't solve the problems at the mind level, because the mind is still saying, oh, gee, no, I have to do this, I have to do that, and she shouldn't do this, and he would have, and etc. But stillness isn't a mind conversation. It's not at the mind level, it's at the consciousness level. So you go to stillness, and stillness bears the fruit, which is peace. And as soon as you taste the peace, especially you taste it a few times, you realize that's the way to go. That's the way to go. You don't need to respond. Most often you don't need to respond, including to yourself. You know, conversation, me and myself. You don't need to respond. You say, okay. Well, okay, thank you very much. Very beautiful friendship and love. Thank you.